anyway, there's a story out there that Netflix is all in on purchasing, I should say, Sunday NFL rights. So that would be either CBS's rights of the AFC or Fox's rights of the NFC.
Yeah.
And I got news for you.
What's that?
Those places like Netflix and they got more money than God.
They do.
And the networks, you work in television, push comes to shove, like this is how CBS lost the NFL in the beginning when they gave it up to Fox when they had the NFC. In the old days when I was a kid, AFC was NBC and CBS had the NFC.
Yeah.
And they gave it up. And now they might not have a choice if Netflix is the one that's going after and they want it, because this is where and the NFL is going to take. They don't care how many people get it. They don't care how many people are watching. They want the most money. So if CBS doesn't come up with the loot, then you're going to lose the AFC.
Ooh, that was a rhyme you missed. They'll come up with the loot. They get in the boot.
Am I right? There it is.
So much of this is funny, having that conversation with Scott Boras we had yesterday, right? That was yesterday. This makes me think of some of the stuff we talked about where he was saying how the MLB kind of missed out on all that content. He's like, you have double the games of the NBA, yet you're not making the money of the NBA when it comes to TV and streaming and rights like that. He said the NBA has done a better job understanding that. And so this will be interesting with the NFL. So to break it down even a little bit further, so the NFL has these deals.
I heard what he said.
Yeah.
But players are making $70 million in baseball.
No, that's not it. His point was we should be making more. If we take the model, we're about the same as far as like impact NBA and MLB, but we have double the games, double the home games. He was saying, so why aren't you making this home?
Yeah, but the difference is I'm just gonna less players in the NBA, and you're not paying for minor leagues. There's a difference there. Between the two leagues. But go ahead.
I'm just telling you what Scott Boras said.
I know what he said. I know what he said. Go ahead.
But so you start looking at this. You brought up some things. So the NFL has these deals through 2033. But you would say, oh, that's far away. I didn't think about that. They can jump out of those deals within 4 years. As long as they give 4 years notice, they can say, hey, never mind, we're not going to go the full length of this contract, and which all indicators are looking like, to your point, they're not going to, because if somebody's going to pay me more, we're not going to 2033. And so you mentioned habit, creatures of habit. So since 1998, you already know that big AFC game, Baltimore, Kansas City, that's on CBS. CBS has had the AFC since 98. It's just, you already know. Most cities, wherever you live, could be Channel 2, Channel 11, whatever it is.
And they got that from NBC.
Yeah, you're right. And then 94, Fox has had the NFC. So we're creatures of habit. So from a fan base, it's going to be weird having to think, ooh, that big game, that big Cowboys, Eagles, whatever it may be. And you're like, wait, is that on Amazon? Okay, wait, is today Prime or is it Netflix? Because right now, that's what we're doing right now. You got to go. You think Netflix has some games? Now it will eventually. Prime has some games. Obviously, your local networks will have it. So it is going to be a little bit more scattered and make you have to think. But the NFL is not going to turn down the money that Netflix can offer. Netflix wants to get out of the early. They had the early games. And I think, too, you mentioned the Jake Paul. They did so well with the Christmas Day game. It was in 218 countries. 30 million people watched the Kansas City and Pittsburgh. 31 million watched Baltimore at Texans.
That's not a lot of numbers if you're talking about the world, though.
Well, I'm saying, but for them, they can. It was the highest Christmas Day game ever.
Right, but
so they can say, "Hey, NFL." I get what you mean, because there's 8 billion people on Earth.
Even in this country, there's 330 million. Yeah. You're talking about less than a third of the people. Less than that. What would be the right
30,
number?
So that would be like 10%? A little less than 10%.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a big number for sports. So
right. It's the biggest number they've ever had. So they can be like, look, when we do it, all we know is we get you 30 million, 31 million at its peak, and we're getting you in multiple countries. So that's why the NFL would say, done deal, one of y'all got to go, CBS
I'll tell you this.
Fox.
I think if they do this, that they will lose viewers for the first time. And I mean, I don't believe where people are scaling back. They got rid of cable. We saw what happened and how ESPN at one point and some of these other players were making, $8 a household times 150 million people every month.
Every month. You didn't even know because your bill. Then you start looking at the itemized bill. You're like, hold on, wait, I'm paying for this much, and this much for this one. Because you just see your bill's $1.80.
But that's what the kind of money it was. And my point is that I believe there'll be people who will just say, I'll get my clips on Twitter. I'll watch bootleg. I'm just not going to pay for it, especially if you don't already have it. Amazon Prime, for me, is easier to have because I have Amazon Prime and I get the free packages. If you tell me every month a certain amount of packages and whatnot that I get for free, that it pays for itself. You know, you could justify the $16 a month that it pays for itself. But I can't you can't look at it totally and be like, am I going to have 4 or 5 different streaming packages and all this stuff start to add up? So I think you'll lose people. I really do. I don't think you'll have the same, not that people won't care about football or gambling or the fantasy. They'll just find and see highlights and clips and other stuff, but they won't watch the games fully, though. They'll try to find somebody who has the red zone channel, you know, like
there you go. You led me to it. I think that's going to lead people to the red zone because what do we know people do? They're gambling, fantasy footballing, right? Or I just want to see what's going on. Shoot, they're on the 15, they're on 8, they're about to score. So I think that's going to push people to red zone to just say, I don't necessarily need to see Chicago versus Jacksonville. I don't need to see that game, but I do have Caleb Williams. So let me just see red zone to see if he scores. He's on my fantasy team, or I got him on my parlay. So I think that's going to drive people absolutely to red zone. Absolutely, this might be when more the NFL starts to lean kind of more towards NBA with like highlights and cool stuff online because that's where the NBA also dominates. It's much better like a clip. You send clips. Hey, you send your boy this dunk, this crossover, this crazy Steph Curry 3. So I think the NFL will start becoming more clips too online where you just clip it up. Hey, I saw enough of the highlights. I got it. It'll never die down. It's a behemoth in America as far as sports. It's number one by far. But I do think it'll change our viewing habits, and it may not necessarily work the way they thought it would work. Let me say it that way. But money talks.
Yeah, money's fine, but at some point, and I'll give you the perfect example, how boxing lost its luster with fans, and a lot of fans didn't grow up with it. And that's the path. When they took boxing off of free TV, I watched Muhammad Ali on ABC, Wide World of Sports.
Amazing big
and
fight
all
for free.
the big fights. And then what has happened to boxing since? The same thing. They started to only pay-per-view. Kids weren't able to watch, all that stuff, so you don't grow up with it.
It's not the norm.
It's right. It becomes like it's some special thing that to be able.
Boxing was huge.
And then all the kids who aren't in families that don't have that, they won't be able to watch a football game in their house. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that's scary.
And it's small, and it starts small.
Right, and it has a damaging effect long term. All right, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Streaming. NFL games on Netflix. Would you buy in? Would you not buy in? Where would you be on this? I know I would be out, all the way out on the streaming.
I'm red zoning it up. I mean, I already have Netflix, so it's kind of a, like you said,
but I'm
it's
saying,
there. But if it's for an extra $11.99 or whatever,
$12,
it's $12 to get the football. Because the people are already joking right now, Rob. People are already making all the videos and memes going, Netflix does one more price raise the price again.
Want to get out, right.
And they're doing videos of them bringing out their DVD players and Blu-ray players. Like, all right now, Netflix.
Seriously, because at some point you could price a lot of the average Joes out of the game.
People
and that's
can't
the
even
great
buy
thing.
eggs.
No,
you told me they're buying
Lucy's.
Lucy's in New York. Yeah, let me get a carton of milk. Let me get some chips, some bread, and 2 eggs. Netflix interested in buying not morning games, not a one-off couple Christmas games. They want afternoon NFL games that obviously have to wait a little bit, but this is something that the NFL is keeping an eye on.
For them to put that out there,
I'm
sure
listen,
Fox and CBS are
shaking in their boots for sure. Where are you on this? You all in? You don't care? You have all the apps and streaming? You don't mind? Or are you saying this has gone too far? 877-99 on Fox. Who we got?
All right. KJ in the Bayou, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, KJ?
Hey, what's happening? Yeah, down in the boot, baby, Louisiana.
Very nice.
I hate it. I hate it when they move games to the NFL because I knew that I was going to be at somebody's house that didn't have cable.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Hey, but it is the worst. I think it boils down to greed. I mean, what more can you? How much blood?
It is greed. It is greed. And I told you, KJ. You heard what I talked about with boxing. That's what happened to boxing.
Yep.
And you had generations of kids who grew up never seeing a fight.
I guarantee there's some 16-year-olds who literally couldn't name you a boxer. They would say Floyd Mayweather. He don't even box anymore.
My son is 21 and he rarely knows boxers. And I'm like, I grew up with the Tyson. I'm in the Tyson age. I'm
right.
Tyson fan.
No
and
doubt.
Watching Sugar Shane and all these other little boxers, but moving something, it's the difference between the haves and the have-nots. And then, it's like, who wants to buy pay-per-view NFL games?
Right. If they could
right.
Thanks, KJ. If they could get away with it, they would do that too and charge you a big game, $12 to watch the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. $12.
You loud. They might be listening.
I'm watching reruns.
I know. Hey, turn on the Golden Girls, Marathon, KJ. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. How about Isaac in Fresno? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Isaac?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yo.
First of all, love the show. I got my girlfriend on you guys. Every time we're in the car, she's like, where are they at?
All right, what's her name?
What's her name?
So, her name is Chloe.
Chloe.
Hey, Isaac, you better get to Chloe faster. You stuttering over there.
Right, but I do agree with you guys because I'm 40 and I feel like going to Netflix is kind of like a generational thing. So I like my local sports. I'm from California. I could watch my local teams on Fox or CBS.
Right.
Yep.
And I feel going to Netflix is almost like the NBA generational thing where people are more about the players and less about the loyalty to the team. I do not want to have to get on Netflix or like the last caller said, go to somebody's house who doesn't happen to have that. And I can't watch my local sports now because I got to get on Netflix. And who are they playing? They're playing Green Bay versus Chicago, which I have no affiliation with.
Yeah. Well,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, I mean, I'm looking at eggs are $14. I don't want my increased Netflix to go up just so I could watch a game that I grew up watching for free.
No doubt.
Every Sunday.
Yep. Isaac, thank you.
Appreciate the call. Shout out to Chloe, too. Thank y'all for listening.
That's
we appreciate
right.
you.
Kenny in Mobile. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Kenny?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing
well.
great.
Just love the show.
Appreciate you.
Coming to you from the original home of Mardi Gras, just want to throw that out there. But I think it's just a bad look for the NFL. I mean, not saying the NFL would never be king in television in the U.S., but you can go too far and become your own worst enemy.
Yep. There is that. We talked about it before, Kenny, about who wants to be a millionaire. ABC had a hit show with Regis Philbin. It was on once a week. It was doing great ratings.
Yep, huge.
What did they do? Put it on like 3 or 4 times a week, and it killed the show. And I'm not saying the NFL is going to be killed, but you will do damage thinking that you're just going after money.
You're like, dang, everybody's a millionaire. It's supposed to be special. One person a week. Now everybody's a millionaire. I appreciate the call, Kenny.
Yes.
Thank you. Andre in Massachusetts, you're on the Odd Couple.
I see Kenny coming up, my bad.
Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Andre?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for taking the call. Happy Tuesday. I have to concur with the previous callers. NFL has to be very careful, right? Because when you're manufacturing folks' consent, and that's exactly what they're doing, being by far the number one sports league, it's a fine line. And going over to streaming and making people have to take that extra step and think about, okay, now I have to do this, that, and the third, it will affect their overall viewership, and you're not just going to get that baseline appreciation that the NFL seems to just take for granted a little bit. So with Netflix, I respect the ambition. They do need to step their game up because Amazon, the games don't have the same quality as Amazon in no way, shape, or form. Amazon's doing innovative things like the next generation stats. Netflix can do this.
All right, Dre. Your phone
you're breaking up there, brother.
Us.
It's all good. We got your point, though. We appreciate it. We'll squeeze in one more. Nah? All right. Well, hey, last call coming up in a couple hours, so if you couldn't get in, don't worry about it. We'll take last call on that. Yeah, a lot of people fired up on that.
No, I figured people would jump in on that. Let's get to Steve. Right?
All right, we have Ephraim joining us in just a moment right now. Steve DeSager was trending.
Steve!
You're right to use the word greed. It is a business. They're going after profit. Completely understand. But it's a cash cow already.
Right.
At what point are you going to think about the fans?
But at some point, Steve, like I brought up about boxing, I think that's the fairest. You remember, we watch great fights on a Saturday afternoon. I watch Muhammad Ali fight ABC World of Sports. They used to have it
For
on.
years, there were Friday night fights.
Friday night, like on free television where you could watch, and all these generation of kids grew up never seeing a fight. Never.
And
now,
that's
you know
where
what that
UFC
means?
has kind of snuck in there for them for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
They're sneaking in. They'll put up some big fights, sometimes free, sometimes not, but at least they're the new thing. And these kids grow up knowing way more about UFC than boxing.
Consider the expenditures an NFL team has. Salary cap's a lot of it. The salary cap is under $300 million. Just what you get from national TV revenue is $400 million.
Right, you're already making $100 million before you do anything else.
Before you pay the office people or the travel or any of that.
And I'll give you the other thing real quick. Even like a team like the Yankees that do real well, they have their own network. And yes, do you know they have like Friday night games on free TV in New York for the people who don't have cable?
A few ball clubs are starting to do that because of how the cable regional networks are going south.
Right.
Yeah.
And so some are saying, well, is there a way we can just have 15 games out of this season's package go on regular TV?
Regular TV
That's
on
good for fans,
on
too.
a Friday night. The Yankees are on like
Good for
every Friday
exposure.
night. Yep.
Show them your product, get them out in the summer, all of that.